Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today.
Marriott's on the move. What? Marriott's on the move. Again? Marriott's on the move.
If you are dreaming about moving to a new city to pursue the life of your dreams, this podcast is for you. Moving 18 times in 23 years to 5 of America's top cities, I know it's not easy to make those decisions alone. I help you develop the dream, the plan, and the move, even if we need to get scrappy to get you there. I'll be doing interviews, career and city spotlights, and sharing my crazy moving stories, tips, tricks, and scams to avoid. Traveling to explore your dreams has never been easier. Now let's get moving. All right, welcome to the show, everyone. I have a special guest for you all today. Her name is Senna, and you may remember her story that went viral a few years ago about her and her husband living in 2 different apartments in New York City, inspiring an entire movement called Living Apart Together, where millions globally finally had the open conversation with their partners about their desires, which I cannot wait to get into because that had to be an interesting conversation for you and your husband. But she has been featured in Business Insider, the New York Times, and on shows like Good Morning America and the Tamron Hall Show. She's a real-life oracle and hosts the Thriving in Love podcast, which I have now listened to several of, and I have a lot of questions. But I feel like this is going to be a really juicy one, so I want to get right into it. So Senna, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, Marriott, thank you for having me. So excited to be here.
Yeah, and as you can see, I'm on the move. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm not in my home office. I am literally in an A-loft in, I think, Florence, South Carolina this week. So I'm going to be all over the place. But I'm hoping that the internet works well. If not, we might have some, splices and dices. But that's kind of how we roll, right? Who knows?
I love it.
Thanks. So are you in New York City still?
So no, we actually moved to LA.
You did?
A little under 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about this whole movement because I just love this story because I have often said, and this is terrible, but I've said I'm 47, right? So I've been single for most of my life. And I've always said it would be so nice if I got married to have my own bedroom because I'm so used to sleeping alone and how nice that is.
Totally.
So how did that come about? Tell us about the movement. I just want to hear all the things.
Okay, so when I started my business Friendship Club, which is a community for New Yorkers to hang out outside of professional networking. So if you're new to New York, check out Friendship Club. It's a great place to make friends. But being on an entrepreneurial journey just sends you on the greatest personal development journey of your life in terms of wanting to heal and grow and evolve and all those things. So I was craving expansion. I was craving space and freedom to find out who I am, right? This self-love journey that everybody kind of is on right now. Yeah. I was just desperately craving it. And then at the time we were in a 1-bedroom apartment. It was 2021, it was COVID, and we were just on top of each other.
Well, in a 1-bedroom in New York City is not like a 1-bedroom really in anywhere else. I lived on the Upper East Side. I was on 95th and 3rd, and my roommate and I, we had a 2-bedroom, but I think total it was 1,000 square feet, and we had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
That's huge for New York.
It felt huge. We had closets in each room. It was a big deal. So a 1-bedroom in New York City is much different than a 1-bedroom probably in LA.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Night and day. And there was no outdoor space or anything like that. So it just felt really cramped and crowded physically and emotionally. And we were really in gender roles at the time, traditional marriage, he's the breadwinner, I'm taking care of the house. And it was just not authentic to who we are. So we were just talking one day.
Well, I was going to say, and you moved right from your parents' house to like you were
Literally.
married and like in with your husband. So you never had that like gap couple years of like living on your own and doing your own thing, which is kind of a big deal. So I could see why like 5, 6 years in, you're
Yeah.
like, hey, guess what?
And that's exactly what it was when I told him. I was like, I've never done this. I never lived alone. I barely know like who I am when I'm not in a relationship with either a daughter parent relationship or like a husband wife sister. Like I'm like, who am I when I'm not
Yeah,
attached to these labels? Like I
right.
just wanted to discover myself. And he actually never lived on his own. He always had roommates before we got married because he couldn't afford his own place in
Oh,
New York at the time.
yeah.
And this was like 6.5 years in now. He was like super like doing really well financially. So he was like, wait a minute. I've always wanted to live on my own and have my own place, and I never got to do that either.
Yeah.
So it was actually really exciting when we talked about it. I was terrified for weeks and months. I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to tell him that I want space. I don't want him to think I want a divorce. I don't want,
Yeah. Well, yeah,
all
because
those
that's
things.
like an interesting dynamic because he's probably like, wait a second, does that mean we're breaking up? Or
Yeah.
how did you, like, what did you say? I want to hear like
Well,
what you
first I
said.
was like, I love you very much.
But,
And I
yeah.
also need to be alone. Like, I need to
Yeah.
experience this part of my life. And then I was terrified. My hands were sweaty. I was like, really, my heart was beating fast. And bless this freaking man and his soul. Like, he's just like, oh, that sounds like it could be fun. Like, I'll get my place, you get yours, and we'll just like do what we always wanted to do, which
Yeah.
was to like have the New York City big romantic life of just like
Well, yeah,
dating, having fun, doing our
yeah.
own thing, being two individuals rooted in our like work, our ambition, our purpose, our hobbies, our creativity, and all those
Whatever
things,
you want.
whatever we want,
Yeah.
and just hang out together and have fun together, not from like obligation, not from comfort, just because you're there and we're watching TV.
Yeah.
Just like more intentional time together. So it
Yeah.
was really, really nice. It was so different. It felt like I was dating my husband, which was like the best freaking thing ever.
Well, it's nice because you don't have that like, what's going to happen next? Is he going to, are we like really together? Because you're together. It's like a whole different
Exactly.
like level. You can just all the awkward of like what are we is gone, and you just get to be you and
Totally.
explore you, but also together. Like that is the
Yeah.
best thing.
And like discover new parts of ourselves, like individually and together, where it's like give each other the freedom and the autonomy, which I think was missing in our relationship before. I think
Yeah.
not on purpose was it missing. I think it was just missing because, again, one bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And you're
and you get
like, oh
like
my,
thrown together. Like, after
yeah,
you leave your parents' house and he's with roommates and stuff, like it's like so much we think of these like milestones like we get married and then we get together and then we decorate our apartment and like it's hard to
exactly.
like have some breathing room.
Totally. And I think, like, honestly, we became pretty codependent in that
Mm.
sense, where we just loved being together. And my friends would be like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? And I'll be like, well, I can't hang out on the weekend because that's the time I hang out with my husband. And they were like,
Yeah.
like, you've been married forever or what? Like,
They're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, I was that girl.
Well, but it was probably, I hate to say this, but like 2 apartments in New York City was probably cheaper than getting a divorce at the time,
Yeah,
right?
I wonder that also. Like, also we downsized, so we had like a
Okay.
high-rise doorman building, and so
Mm,
cost-wise, we weren't spending more, and that was important to us. Like, we
yeah.
obviously couldn't afford more, but so we downsized. I got a tiny little studio on Upper East Side, two-story walk-up, and then he was in a walk-up, one bedroom in Upper West. So like,
Which
no more
sounds so
elevators, no more
romantic.
doorman.
Yeah. And you got Central Park right in the middle of you, so you probably meet in the
Oh my
middle.
gosh. We did so many picnics, and he walked me home through Central Park every Sunday, no matter the weather. It was so fun.
Oh my God,
I
that's like
loved it.
like a storybook. Did you guys like journal or like I feel like
Oh
you
my
guys should
gosh,
write a
did we
memoir.
journal?
Did you?
Oof. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have like
Uh-uh.
piles here of journals of
No.
like, because I'm writing my book right now.
Oh, you are? Oh my God, that's so
So it's,
exciting.
yeah, so it's super helpful to have the journals where I'm like remembering the emotions that I was going through at the time.
Well, I think that's so important though, because, and I talked about this on another episode as well. It's like you almost like if you don't journal, you can't see how far you come, right? Like through
Yeah.
something, like you grow through what you go through. And if you don't, then it's almost like you, I don't know, when people lose weight, they're always like, I don't really see, like, unless they lose like a significant dramatic amount of
Yeah.
weight, it's hard to see it. But then you see side by side pictures and you're like, holy crap, I did lose a lot of weight, you know? Like
So
that
true.
that is
Hmm.
crazy. So, what was like the biggest surprise for you of like what, like you as Senna, an individual living on your own, like what did you love? What did you hate about it? What surprised
Surprisingly, I learned that I love peace and quiet. Like,
you?
no
Mm,
TV, no music, no nothing, just me and a good book is
okay.
all I need to be the happiest version of myself.
Yeah,
Like,
I identify with that so hard. So hard. Yeah.
and I like a lot of baths. I also realized
Oh,
that I'm a big bath girl. Um,
okay.
Also, I like to cook with mushrooms, like mushroom
Ooh.
risotto, mushroom this, like not a lot of meat. But when I was like living with him, it's like every single meal had meat in it because he doesn't think it's a meal if it doesn't have meat in
It's
it.
protein. I know. I'm from the south
Yeah,
side of Chicago.
exactly.
It's very much a meat and potatoes
Yes.
kind of like mindset. Yes, for sure.
So that was really nice to discover that I like I like, more plant-based or more like a vegan meal here and there or a vegetarian meal here and there is actually like really fun. And yeah, I also learned that I am not a 9 to 5 girl at all. Like he would work 9 to 5 all the time, obviously. So I just did because it's like, okay, when we're working, and then when we're not, we're not. But when I
Right.
was living alone, I was like, wait, I love to wake up and have a whole morning to myself before starting my work day. I like to
Yeah.
like go run. I like to go sit in the park. I like to go like just to a cafe or something before starting my day. And then being able to make my own schedule was also really, really nice. It was
Yeah.
a lot of learning things. Yeah.
Like rituals that you like put together for yourself. Are
Hmm.
you still doing them today?
Yes. So
So
it's
crazy.
been like a big, for the first year was like integration. So immediately when we first moved back in together, when we came to LA, I found myself falling back into those habits
Mm.
the way I was before. And I swear, like I could feel that kind of like dark, depressive
It's like
energy coming
angst.
in again.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like not me, right? Not my vibrant, usual, like
Hmm.
excited self. And I was like, wait, what's different? And thank God for the journals because I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I was doing this and that, and now I'm not.
Oh my gosh, I
So
love
yeah.
that. Yeah, when I'm on the road, which it's been a lot, like since January. So like I work, my full-time job is in healthcare and I'm in IT and all that stuff. So like we, in that beginning part of the year, it's like conferences and kickoffs and so it's like
Wow.
my one thing that I bring with me is like I have my MCT oil like packet of stuff that I put into my coffee and I have to have coffee every single morning and I try to go to like a craft coffee shop. So like my team was making fun of me because we're here in Florence, and like they were like, why don't we just meet at Starbucks at 7:45? And I was like, nope, I found a place called Water Bean and it looks adorable, or Water Bean or Bean something. And I'm like, we're gonna go there at 7:45. They got breakfast, all the things. They're like, leave it to you to find the one part of your routine that we all have to adopt. I'm like, you're gonna love it. You'll thank me, I'm sure of it. But that's like my one thing, like I don't get
Yeah.
many things when I'm on the road. So
No,
what about
it's
him?
special too. I think it's important to have those things
Yeah.
and keep you connected to yourself while you're in the middle of this chaotic time of like
Yeah.
traveling and this and that. So I am glad you said that because making it a non-negotiable, I think, is important too, so that you have your boundaries and you know
Yeah.
what you want, what you need, and yeah, love it. Him too. So he started golfing while he was living on his own, and that's something he still does now all the time. He like once a
Oh,
week, every Sunday, he's like he'll go no matter
yeah.
what. And I love that because it's like he was like awful when he first started and then he was just like curious about it and now he's like getting better. He comes home and he tells me how much he's like improving. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to see him dive into a hobby that has absolutely nothing to do with me.
Right. And you get your quiet time Sunday mornings, like to be at home with
Yes,
nothing on and read a book or do whatever you want to do.
exactly.
Boom. Play it.
Have you ever listened to a commercial on the radio or a podcast and thought, I could totally do that? Well, I am challenging you today. Being a voiceover artist is an amazing side hustle that can be done from the comforts of your own home. Heck, it can be an amazing career. Just ask Jesse Carroll. Jesse's got over 1,000 voiceover credits to his name. Ever watch Backroad Truckers? He's the narrator. He's also done a ton of commercials for brands you would definitely recognize. If you're ready to try your hand at voiceovers, go to marriottsonthemove.com and head to my favorites page to learn more about his new digital course and coaching package. If you use code MOTM, you'll get 20% off at checkout.
Have you heard of Monat or Modern Nature? I hadn't either before my friend Monica was raving about their skincare products that she's obsessed with. I took their hair quiz to find out which product line would be best for me since I just happen to be looking for new shampoo and conditioner, and I signed up for their VIP package that got me a little bit of everything to try out. Turns out they are the first anti-aging hair care line in the world, which I didn't even know was a thing. And their products are gluten-free, vegan, and Leaping Bunny certified, which means they're never tested on animals. Now I'm obsessed with their rich formulations that feature botanical extracts, essential oils, and other naturally based ingredients, and I want to share those products with you. I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can hit the faves page on my website. It's safe, EU approved, and clinically tested by third parties. So essentially, robustness approved. Now back to the show.
Exactly.
See, and that's
it's
almost like
perfect.
that harmony that you guys created for each other by being apart that you would have probably never, like, you could have gotten to a point where you really were like angsty together, and it wouldn't have come to like, let's like find our routine. It would be like, let's get divorced. Right. And I think that's so
Or the
important.
opposite, which is the other like the thing that I see often is when couples end up with so much resentment and bitterness under the rug, and they
Yes.
just think, oh, it's just like piling on, piling on, piling on to the point that you still, it's not bad enough for divorce, and it's not good enough for a thriving,
Long
happy
term.
marriage.
Yeah.
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 It's
And I
just
want
this
to talk
like,
about that too, because you have a
yeah.
podcast about like, so tell the audience about your podcast, because it's, I literally, like, I think this morning alone, I listened to 4 episodes, and there were so
Wow.
many unique takes on kind of what you, um, like some of the things that notably I remembered. I was like, okay, well, like right now I identified with the fact that you talked about your masculine energy and your feminine energy. And like right now I am for sure in a season of masculinity because I am focusing on impact and I'm focusing on my career. And like last year, I couldn't travel a lot because I hurt my back. So this year, I'm like hitting it hard and trying to be grateful for my travels and the fact that I can go whenever I need to because my dog's passed, unfortunately. But that gives me the freedom to travel. And I'm going to Italy at the end of this month for a week and I cannot wait. So I'm
That's
leaning into
amazing.
that. But then, like notably on what you said was like, you have to find something in your feminine energy to like balance it out if you're feeling imbalanced. And I didn't even know that. But the other day, I somebody showed me diamond art. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay. So if you haven't, it's almost like paint by numbers, but with like sparkly jewels. And
Oh,
it was
yes.
the coolest thing. Like
I see it on TikTok all the time.
do you see? I
It's
had never
amazing.
heard of it. My girlfriends in my neighborhood like had like an art night and they were painting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I bought something at Michael's like 2 years ago that I put like a sign for my front door that I just never painted, and so I'm like, yeah, I'll paint that. And one of the girls there, her name's Lori, she was doing this like very intricate thing, and I was like, what is that? I just saw sparkles from the other side of the room, and I was like, I want that. So and like I hope they don't listen to this, but like I'm creating 2 pieces of diamond art for the special women in my life for Mother's Day. And so like I went through and I did all of it, and it was like 2.5 hours that I felt like so peaceful and creative, and I just felt balanced. And I'm glad I bought a couple of them because I bought one for me and one for my stepmom and one for mom. And now I'm looking forward to doing that this weekend, like to finish the other
Wow.
two. Yeah. So like, can you talk a little bit about that and like how you balance that?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I think this is important also if like you're moving to a new city and you're in that masculine energy because you're getting your apartment ready, you're packing, you're
Yeah.
unpacking, and all that stuff. So I love that you bring this up because especially in the chaos of such an intense period, it is so important to tap into being more rest and play and rejuvenate so that you're not burning yourself out, so that you're not needing that. What I needed every time I moved to a new city is like, I'm so tired. I barely have enough energy to go explore and try to like, and then you get this like bad energy of like the
Yeah.
place, thinking it's the place, when in reality,
It's
it's just we're burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah. Your
Having such an
vibration is
intense,
imbalanced. Yeah.
totally. So yeah, I'm so passionate about having people understand that first of all, every single thing has a yin and a yang, a masculine and an energy and into it, right? Whatever exists, everything has it. Us specifically have it in a way that we can be in touch with it, we could be in tune with it, we can balance it. And when you are balanced in your masculine, which is your outward, you're performing, you're social, you're interacting with others, you are being ambitious, you're creating your impact. And then you have your feminine energy, which because of society we neglect, because if you rest you should earn your rest, or like
Yes.
you feel guilty for indulging in self-care, or it's a luxury and this and that, when no, it's not a luxury, it's not just for a certain few, it is essential for everyone so that we don't feel chaotic and our mental health isn't unstable and our nervous system is regulated and we are functioning mind, body, soul as human beings, so that we can just prioritize our life in a way that makes sense for us, right? So for me, it's like I love to do it through the week. So like my Sundays are my pure feminine energy days. They're like I'm creative, I'm painting, I'm dancing, I'm like sewing, whatever creative project I want to do. And I don't monetize it. I don't
Mm.
post it on social media. I don't like attach an outcome to it because it has to be something that is just for me and my inner child to just like
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I have my Fridays, which are my no meetings, no big like anything. I keep it very spontaneous. So I'll like go out, I'll go to a cafe and I'll just like let my intuition guide me for the day. Sometimes I'll go to the
Okay.
beach, sometimes I'll just go shopping, or sometimes I'll just go to a museum. But Fridays are my like sacred days to just let my gut, my intuition, my body guide me to whatever it wants to do. And for me, that's like a non-negotiable because if I'm just so go, go, go in my ego, in my masculine, in my like capitalistic mindset, it's going, I've done it before so many times and it
Mhm.
just always makes me feel so dull and depleted and just tired.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's incredibly important to implement both.
It's almost like you can't rest unless you rest. And like in one part of your like yin and yang. Like for me,
Yeah.
doing that diamond art, I mean, it took me like 2.5 hours. And mind you, like I felt my age. I was like, should I get my readers? Like I was like, what do I?
I love
But
that.
at the same time, I was like, I videoed little snippets of it, and with their permission, I will post it. But only because it was like so meticulous, and I got to like be present in that moment, and like it almost
Mm,
felt like a meditation where I wasn't thinking about my mailer or like a deadline or an RFP or anything else. I was literally
yeah.
just thinking about them in that moment and how I was creating something with my time and pouring my energy and love into it for them. And I know they're going to appreciate it because it's sparkly and pretty and I love it. And I know they will too because I picked something that I know they love. But I think that's really important. And you talked about that emotional alchemy. Is that part of that, or where does that fit in?
So for me, emotional alchemy fits in when I'm journaling the
Okay.
most. So for me, like I was the type of person that had a lot of triggers. I would be really emotionally dysregulated, which is why, honestly, like living in my own apartment was surprisingly a big part of my emotional maturity, where I had the space to be like, if my husband and I would get into an argument, I would be reactive and I'll be like, I'll see you tomorrow. And thank God I had my own place to go to. And it was great.
Peace out.
And then, yeah, exactly. So it was really nice. But what I didn't do was what I would normally do, which is like just drink a lot, watch TV, numb my feelings. What I did intentionally was journal. So I was like, okay, I hate him. He's bothering me. This freaking sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then the more I'm writing, the more I'm calming myself down and really understanding the situation from a detached perspective from my ego into that center, right? That soul, the higher self of like, okay, now that you got that out of the way, let's see the reality of what actually went down and why were you triggered? What was this emotion trying to tell me? Like, what is anger trying to tell me? What is rage trying to tell me? What is, abandonment trying to show me, right? Like, why do I feel this way? Why am I feeling neglected? And it really, like, having that beautiful relationship with my emotions through that journaling practice taught me so much about my inner child wounds, taught me so much about my relationship with my caregivers, and just like how I feel. Am I worthy? Am I feeling like, I'm asking for this and I'm not being heard? Like, so much emotion. So emotional alchemy for me is taking anger and processing it and understanding why is this here? Where is this trying to show me that I need to look at? Hang out with my inner child a little bit and be like, you're safe. This isn't the same situation as it was when you first felt it. And reparenting myself so that I can calm and soothe my inner child, regulate my nervous system, and then go to my husband and be like, oh, I overreacted.
Which is hard, I'm sure. But I think that's a really important point that you bring up. Like in my life coaching like certification, we learn about these like inner child exercises where like half the time, if you are not asking yourself the questions like, what is this telling me? Like if I was in a room and my inner child was there sitting there, like, would I talk to her that way? And not even, because I'm not one of those people that like negative talks on myself, but when I get angry, I get in that loop sometimes. And I just, I tell the story over and over and over again in my head. And I'm like, okay, take a step back. What trauma am I reliving that has nothing to do with this situation? You know what I mean? Like, but you can't actually process that unless you stop and ask the question and you wait for an answer, because it's all inside. Like you can validate your feelings with TikTok and Instagram and all these things, but it's not you. They didn't live your life. They didn't sit in your shoes. They didn't have the parents you had, any of that, like you mentioned in one of your podcasts that you have to almost like, when you're going through that, you have to like break up with your old self and like let go of that ego and like relearn who you are and restart that. So talk about that a little bit, because that was like mind blowing. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. If you don't end that phase, you can't move into that new person or that new being. That's so powerful.
You're going to repeat cycles over and over again until you're willing to take one step out of that by doing something differently. And we're always trying to evolve and grow and, reach our highest potential, right? That's something that I think our souls came here to Earth School so that we can ascend and grow and evolve and all those things, right? So if you are repeating the cycles, I like to call that karma, right? We come here to clear some karmic debt that we signed up for. And as soon as you catch the pattern and you choose differently, it could be a tiny little step that's different. You are breaking that cycle and you're starting a new path and you're ascending into a new timeline. So if we are trying to intellectualize what we need to do and what we're experiencing, it's not going to break the cycle. It has to be a somatic change, meaning in the body, physically shifting. So when I did choose to live in my own apartment, for me, that was my biggest level up opportunity that it could have gone either way. It could have gone in a way where I'm spiraling downwards in the depths of my abandonment wounds, or I am journaling, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm alchemizing. I am tapping into my creative energy, and I'm not falling into that depressive. The opposite of depression is expression. So, you know,
I
it's
like
all
that.
about, yeah.
It
I know,
is.
when
It
I
is a
heard
good
it, I was
yin
like,
and
oh, I
yang.
like that.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so easy to fall into our comfort zone of like our coping mechanisms. But if you choose differently, you are literally starting a new chapter to a whole new timeline that is opening up for you. So
Yeah.
isn't that what we're here to do? Is like, you know, clear our karmic debt, step into our dharma of wanting our souls to be fully expressed, and just have a fun experience on earth by letting go of the emotional baggage, letting go of the trauma, letting go of the stories that made us who we are, but it doesn't have to be who we continue to be in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, your past doesn't predict your future. And I love that because by making that choice, like you can almost like have a celebration. Like my neighbor Ashley Dixon in Charlotte, if anybody's looking, she is a celebrant, but she will do celebrations for like a divorce to like, bring the new you into the world. And I think that's so important to have just that little ritual. Like we did a winter solstice, like what are we letting go of? And we all, like, there was like 8 of us girls there, and we all sat around the fire and we told each other. And ironically, it was a lot of the same things. Like we were all going through the same things and we weren't talking about it. And it just opened up a beautiful conversation. And then we threw it in the fire in like, dramatic fury. Like it was awesome because you could just be however, like, of course I'm going to be a little bit
But
more
see,
dramatic.
that's the somatic part. It's like literally with the body. Yeah. It seems like it's just like, oh, fun and silly, but your body is actually letting it go when you do that.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's awesome.
Well, and I want to get back to the friendship club because part of the reason I left New York City, and I'm kind of ashamed to say this because I am a transition coach. I wasn't back then. And I part of why I put ecosystem into my Fred framework was because I realized then that community was so incredibly important. And I had my roommate, Lauren. I love Lauren to death. And, we can laugh about it now, but we had kind of a contentious relationship because we didn't really have a lot of outside, or she had outside friends, but I didn't really have anybody outside of like who I worked with. So it was like the people that I was working with, and like, you can't really let loose with people that you work with because, rumors started. It just was one of those things where like, I didn't know where to go. So like I joined a running club because in all the places that I've ever moved, I hate running, and I'm a great back of the pack person. Like I will walk my way to the finish line any day. But it was like, I get into this running club and I hurt my foot. And I was like, see, you're getting me the running club now, So it was like, it was so crazy. But talk about that, because I think that finding people that you connect with and you can just have like conversations like this. Like I've already learned, like I listened to your podcast and we're 30 minutes in and I've learned some things already about me through you. And like, had I not met you through Speaker Sisters, which is our like club that we're both in together, like we wouldn't be having these conversations and I wouldn't have the perspective that you just brought to me, So I wish I knew about Friendship Club if it was even born yet. When I was in New York City, that was like 2010-ish. So it might have been.
Yeah, definitely not. It's a COVID baby. It came about because of me just realizing. So I was in New York at that time for maybe 6 years. And I realized that I do not have any friends outside of my coworkers. My entire like identity was just like hanging, or like my coworkers are like people I've met through work, right?
Yeah.
And it just hit me that that's kind of the story for a lot of New Yorkers. And it's because like, your work is such a big part of your life in New York, right? Like you're working so hard, you're working crazy hours. You don't really have time to go.
And most people are transplants. So it's like by the time when you get here, like that first 90 days, you're like hitting the ground running. You're like doing what you need to do. You're not like going to the bars and like trying to pick up friends. Like that's just not what you do in New York.
And it's, I think, hard. I mean, I remember going to bars and trying to like strike up a conversation with people, and people look at you like you have like 10 heads, and it's like,
I have the best story. So I lived in Normandy Courts, which is still standing. It's 30 floors up, right? And I'm from Chicago. So like I talk to everybody, like I'm very friendly. I say hello to people when I walk by, which, in New York, I knew that was going to rub people the wrong way. But I remember in like the first 2 weeks I was there, I get in the elevator and I was on the 10th floor. And so there's 20 floors above me plus a gym, right? And this guy was already on the elevator and he had a suitcase. And I get in the elevator and I was like, hi, oh, are you going somewhere? And he's like, and if you're watching me on YouTube, I've got like the somberest, like, why are you talking to me face? And I was like, are you going somewhere? And he's like, yes. And I was like, are you sure? Because you don't seem very confident in it. And he's like, I just was like, dude, I'm just making conversation. I'm not going to break into your I don't even know where you live. I'm just making conversation. And he's like, oh. And then he just like looks down at his phone. And I was like, okay, that went well. And then we had to ride down another like 6 floors, you know, like it was so awkward. But I was like, I know that's not everybody's New York experience, but sometimes it's like that and it's awkward and it's like, oh, just come on, you know?
Yeah.
But
no, first of all, like, I love your courage. I love how you were just like determined to get this guy to talk.
I was like, no, we're doing this. Like, I'm
Everybody
committed.
needs that energy.
I know, whether they like it or not. I forced it upon him, but I don't know. Hopefully it'll
I
get through.
love that. And I truly do love that, because if we're not willing to do that, then we can intellectual or take things personally, right?
Yeah.
Like in that situation, you could have been like, oh, is it me that he doesn't want to talk to? But you didn't let that get to you.
No.
You were just like, I know I'm a decent human being. I know it's normal to have this conversation, you know, like, so I hope that people that are listening do take that as inspiration and motivation to be like, well, it's okay to be the one who is friendly and it's not a bad thing. So yeah, I think with Friendship Club too, which is why I named it Friendship Club, is because I wanted to make sure it wasn't about professional networking. Like every time people go to events in New York, it's like, what do you do? Here's my business card. What's your LinkedIn? This and that. What can you do for me? What can I do for you? I was just like, can there ever be a place, like you said, right? If you're there thinking of it, it's from a work environment or work adjacent, you're always going to have a mask on. And the mask is going to be your professional mask. It's going to be you in your best light, trying to impress people. It's not your authentic self. So what I really, really wanted to create was a place where even if you don't know who your authentic self is, it's a place where you can find out who that authentic self is, the freedom to be. And I think I just wanted to take off all the pressure of it being something that you're going to gain professionally. I wanted to not have it be dating, because I think you also come with masks when you're dating. So I was like, what is that middle ground where you could just try a new activity, get out of your comfort zone, and maybe make a new friend? So
do you guys do events and like, what do you do per month? Like, what, as a member, like, what do you do? Or what do you get?
Yeah, so when I was first there, so from 2020 until 2022, for 2 years, I was hosting monthly events. And then every quarter I would like rent out a venue and just throw like a little members only party. It was so much fun and I loved it. But then when I moved to LA, so at the time it was $10 a month to join. When I was moving to LA, I actually hired an event coordinator to do the events for a while. And then she ended up getting a full-time job and she's like, I can't do this anymore. So I did that for a little while. And then I was like starting the love coaching and, you know, helping couples and this and that. So I ended up choosing to make it free and make it member-led. So now we have like a little over 3,000 members in it.
Oh my gosh.
And members post events. So they'll be like, oh, it's my birthday, or I'm going out here, or I want a pizza night. Like, and it's kind of like just self-driven by the members at this point.
Well, I think that's so important because you can do that in any city you go to, right? Like, if you don't have a community when you move there, I always suggest like get on Facebook groups, but not everybody's on Facebook. Like I don't have Facebook anymore. Like I've been on it since literally it started. It was my account like in 2004 when it was like college kids only. And so I've been on it for 20 years. But I don't like, there are so many groups that you can get on that's like moving to Florida or moving to Utah. And you can even get as granular as like whatever the city is. But when you get there, you can create a community and doing things that whatever you like to do. And I think that that's important because you had fun and it probably enriched your New York City experience to the point where like you could get to LA and think about doing it there too, you know?
Totally.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And people tell me all the time, like, when is it happening in LA? When are you starting it?
would be a little different probably in LA. But that's the thing is it like there's Meetup, there's a couple other like groups out there, but it you really have to like make it something that you like, and then it will attract the people that like are like-minded like you. And that's what you want in like a dream city, is to like find people
100%.
you share things with, have different perspectives, and like I don't know, I feel like when you have that community, like you're choosing, like we talked about choices earlier, right? Like you're choosing to be friends with somebody. If you only have so much energy to expel every day, you want to do it with people that you enjoy being with, you know? And I think that's
Oh
really
my
important.
gosh. So true. There's so many times where we think having a lot of friends is what makes us cool and important and this and that, when in reality, that drains you. It's not fulfilling. If you are
Yeah.
liked by everyone, that means you're not being authentic, honestly.
Yeah.
It means that you're trying to get people to like you. You're people pleasing or wearing masks. You're trying to be somebody you're not. I think being your authentic self takes courage, and it attracts the right people, and your friendship circles do get smaller, but they
Yeah.
get deeper and they get
Yeah.
so much more beautiful, and they get to a place where you finally feel like you don't have to try to be liked. You don't have to try to fit in. You don't have to perform. And you can let down that guard. You can open your heart a little more and you can connect on a deeper level. And that's where I'm at now in my 30s, where it's like, I don't care how many friends I have, long as I know that I can call them when shit hits the storm and we can hop on the phone
Yes.
for an hour and I could just complain
Totally.
about my husband.
Right. I mean, I instantly to mind, sorry, I don't know if you guys could hear that. I just I've got my pen in my hand. I'm one of those people that like, I do go off in tangents, but when I'm like talking, I have to write things down. Otherwise I'm going to forget it. And I did write like intuition and oracle and things like this down here. So I'm like, I want to get to those too. But, I instantly thought of my friend Piper. Like I got brought to a party that Piper was having in San Diego. It was like a Halloween party. She was dressed up. I remember walking in and she had roller skates and a big curly wig on. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's hilarious. And we ended up
That's
talking all
amazing.
night. Neither of us talked to the girl that introduced us. And she is literally one of my best friends. And I talk to her several times a week because we just connected on a deeper level. And we've been able to, like, she lives in Colorado. I live in Charlotte. And since then, like, she lived in San Diego and in Colorado, and I've lived like 5 other cities, you know? So, but we like connected, and that to me is like more important than having 20 friends that I like am sort of okay with, you know?
So true. And I think the biggest issue with today's society, the loneliness epidemic and everything, right? It's because we don't have a sense of belonging. And I think belonging doesn't happen from having a lot of people in your life. I think it happens from being able to be who you are with the people that are in your life.
And be seen by
So,
them. Yeah.
mhm.
That's huge.
And I
That
think
can,
it has to happen from you being comfortable and courageous
Mhm.
to be who you are in a society that wants everybody to look the same through plastic surgery and
Mhm.
implants and this and that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we put the formula in this podcast episode, right? Like journal, figure out who you are, work through your shit,
Yeah.
and then connect with people who are also on that journey. And I mean, even going
Yeah.
to a coffee shop with somebody else that you don't talk to a whole lot, but you guys journal and then you talk about things like that can be a connection and that can be deep, like where you're not alone, but you guys are just sitting and writing, like finding something like that.
Mm.
Like I went to the painting night and, you know, we all kind of did our own things, but we also had conversation. And
Yeah.
I find that that is one of those, like I talked in my Monday mailer today that I released, which now at this point will be a couple weeks back, but I talked about those blue zones, and like I have watched all the documentaries because I'm absolutely fascinated by it. So if you aren't familiar with the blue zones, it's those areas within the world, and there's so few of them. I think there's only like 7 or 8 of them, but these people are living like well into their hundreds, not well, but like, you know, 110,
Yeah.
100. And like, they all attribute it to, you know, eating somewhat healthy, but community is that big thing, and that sense of purpose and
Mm.
getting up and going to see somebody every day. Like there was a guy that I saw a documentary on, and he like walks several miles a day. Like I know people that that are in their 20s and 30s that don't walk several miles every day, you know, but he walks a couple miles to the bar and has his one drink and then he walks home, and that's his like, but he has his community and that's his goal for the day is to get there. So, I mean, I think that that's something to like strive for. And if you don't have that currently in your life, to make it a point, maybe once or twice a week to go to a coffee shop, like you said, or, you know, go somewhere that, you know, if it's like axe throwing or golfing, like your husband found, like, you know, who knew that he would like golf, right? He probably was like, oh, it's interesting, but maybe I'll try it.
Yeah.
And now he loves it, you know?
Yeah. And that's how it starts too. Like, I think getting out of your comfort zone, people think it has to be with something that you love, or if you start a new hobby, you have to be really good at it. Allow yourself to suck at something. And allow yourself to see the growth by sticking with something through consistency. And you shifting, like you said about the journal and about the weight loss, and like seeing the change is so fulfilling and satisfying, and just a beautiful moment to have with your own self of being like, damn, who am I now? Look at me go.
Right. I actually, a couple years ago for a Christmas gift, I made a bunch of people in my family these like, I can't remember what I called it. It had some, I love a good theme party. So it had some cheeky name to it, but it was like, whenever something good happens, even if it's tiny and nobody else sees it, like write it down on a little piece of paper, fold it up and put it in the jar. And then at the end of the year, we all sat and we read some of our things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And I forgot about that. And like, it just was like, for me, it was like my version of journaling, because I'm easing into that. Like, I don't do it every day. I certainly don't do it every week, but when I do it, I like will write and write and write. And it just feels so cathartic. I don't know. It's just a different, because I think you go through life, and like basically from the time you're born till when you get out of college, if you go to college or get out of high school, you're like told what to do and you're forced with all the people around you. And then like you become an adult. Like I had a conversation with one of the young adults at my company the other day, and she was like, so and she's like 3 years out of college, and she's like, so do I have to like go out and find people to like mentor me, and I have to go and do that, right? And I was like, yeah, we're not coming to you. We're going to assume that if like she came to me and said, hey, can I put an hour on your calendar? And I said, absolutely. I would love to get to know you more. And she's like, thank you for allowing me to do this. I'm like, thanks for letting me get to know you. But she's like, I didn't know if you would be open to it. And I was like, I certainly would never reach out to you and be like, hey, young one, let me tell you all about what I know. You know what I mean? Like, that's so weird. I don't want to assume that you need that guidance, but if you do need it, if you don't ask, we're not going to know that you want that friendship, or you want that companionship, or you want that mentorship or sponsorship. Like, we have to somehow verbalize our feelings. And I love the idea of like even journaling what you want and why you want it. So you can be clear when you go to someone and be like, hey, like I'm just moved here. I'm looking to build some friendships. Want to join me? You know, like something so simple.
And I understand social anxiety is a very real thing. And again, journaling can really help with that too. And practicing how you're going to ask somebody, like record yourself and like get comfortable in your skin and get comfortable with the words that are just like free flowing out of you, and understand that perfection does not exist. No one is judging you. Whoever is on the opposite end of receiving your request is going to feel so happy that you even asked. So like, I wish people knew that, you know, especially in a place like Friendship Club now that it's member led, right? It's like, there's so many people in there, but only a handful of people are the ones that are posting about going out, starting conversations, sharing things, right? And it's because so many people think that their voice doesn't matter, or that they're a burden, or that, you know, other people don't care about what's going on in their life. And I think it's because of this like social media where it's like we have the creators and then we have the watchers and the followers, right?
Yeah.
I want to really empower people. Hopefully this episode can get that message out that people love helping people, but they don't know that you need help if you don't ask for it.
Yeah.
So when you ask somebody for help, you're giving them a gift. you're not a burden. You're giving them the opportunity to feel good about themselves. Like you said about the young mentee. Like I'm sure that made you feel good. Like, oh wow, she like
it made my day.
Once, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have a hard time with like small talk. Like it drains me, but like one-on-one, like totally recharges me. And I was like on fire that night. I got so much done because I was like, we had the best conversation, you know, and Justine is such a like firecracker and she's like so ambitious. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love that energy. And I just fed off of it, you know? So I 100% agree. I feel like, you know, you're not going to assume, but it is nice to be asked. And it's like humbling when you're like, oh, wait, you want to hang out with me? Like, it's almost like being picked at the dance or, you know, on the softball team or basketball team and like in grade school, like, wait, okay.
And I wholeheartely believe that what you put out, you receive back from the universe. So the universe, it's like the laws, the universal laws are very real. What you put out is what you receive. So if you're putting out the energy of giving somebody the gift of being able to be there for you, somebody's going to do that for you. Like not maybe immediately after, but definitely at some point you're going to receive an opportunity to be the one who helps somebody else at some point in time too.
Totally. I love this conversation. Well, so you're a coach as well, right? So you're doing keynotes, you're you got all the stuff going on. So if somebody wants to work with you one-on-one, or if they want to learn about your content or your stuff, so give them all the things. Tell me.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. So my website is sanaakhand.com. And if you want to work with me to balance your masculine and feminine energies, and if you are tapping more into embodying all of your self-help books and podcasts and all the wisdom and knowledge that you're gaining, but wanting to know how to integrate it into your everyday reality, that's the work that I do, is walk you through the steps of coming home to your authentic self and shining your light as brightly as you can, whether that's through writing a book, speaking on stages, starting your own podcast, just creating a platform for yourself so that you can connect with the people you're here to serve. And my podcast is called Thriving in Love, where I talk all about how to be your authentic self in relationships. So it's all about like challenging the status quo, challenging traditional norms and this and that, and a lot of spiritual conversations as well, because I am a spiritual mentor and I can, you know, a gift that I picked up while living apart is connecting deeply to my soul gifts, and I have activated and practiced them deeply since then. So I'm able to see what you're going through and channel a message for you in the moment that you're in. So whether it resonates or not, it's like a guidance system, and then you get to choose how that feels in your body and choose your next steps. So I love helping people get unstuck on their journeys of growth, personal development, all the things.
You get that like divine download and you're able to share that, and it might not be relevant right in the moment. And then afterwards they're like, oh wait, she said I should think about this. You know, like I'm sure that's really powerful, especially if somebody's going through a transition. Like this is the time when everyone's like always, I wish that I just had somebody that would just tell me, yes, it's a good move and you're going to meet the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams or whatever. And I'm like, but that's the end game. Like have fun on the journey and that stuff will just come, right? Whatever it's supposed to, timing is everything. So, but I love this conversation. I'm sure
I agree with that 100% because a location isn't going to be the thing that gets you what you want. A job isn't going to be the thing that gets you what you want. Nothing physical is. What it is you enjoying every step of the way, and you being in that frequency of joy activates that attraction, and then whatever is meant for you will find you. So it's all about frequency, energy, how you're vibrating through your emotional alchemy. If you're feeling down and heavy, it's time to do the inner work so that you can, you know, be high vibe, what they say. Not to say that low vibe is a bad thing. Low vibe has incredible lessons of growth and maturity, but trying to be high vibe as much as you can not in a bypassing way. But yeah, that's how the universe gives you all of the manifestations that you want.
So many gifts. I love this. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Sana. I will put all of your information in the show notes, and a couple of my favorite podcast episodes from your podcast because I really had an enlightening morning this morning. But thank you again for being on the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I loved this conversation.
Well, I could go on forever and ever about moving you closer to your dreams, but I probably should save some thoughts for the next episode. A big thanks goes out to you for making time for me today. In making time for me, you're making time for future you, and we're both grateful. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the podcast, download the episodes, and leave me a 5-star review. I would really appreciate it. In return, if you go to my website, marriottsonthemove.com, and register for the Monday mailer, I'll send you a free Fred workbook to get your journey started. This is also where you can find all the show notes and all the ways to get in touch with me. A special thanks goes out to Rogue Media for its wisdom and partnership. Until next time, friends, keep moving forward towards your dreams. Oh, and the legal stuff. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I am a certified coach, not a licensed therapist, and this is not meant to replace the professional advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. This is solely my perspective based on my own experience and training. Okay, now it's over. For reals. Bye for now.
This has been a Rogue Media Network